Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. Let's get started. An airman at Fairchild Air Force Base is being investigated for sexually abusing a young girl, and court documents show detectives are also looking into whether the child's school failed to report a crime. KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk shows us how the school is responding tonight. Kyle?
Well, this elementary school sits on Fairchild Air Force Base, but it's operated by the Medical Lake School District. The superintendent there says the school has been cleared from any wrongdoing. However, court documents say otherwise. We aren't naming the airman accused of sexually abusing a child because he hasn't been criminally charged. But Spokane County Sheriff's detectives did find probable cause to search his home. That search warrant obtained by KREM 2 shows that Child Protective Services received a report January 10th after a child revealed they had been sexually abused by another adult. The investigation was then assigned to the U.S. Air Force Office of Special Investigations, or OSI. The person who contacted CPS was interviewed and said she first learned of the alleged abuse in October and reported it to a secretary at Michael Anderson Elementary and asked to speak with a school counselor. According to court documents, the school said someone would contact her but failed to do so. Documents allege that staff were aware of the allegations for months, including a teacher who knew the child outside of school. The search warrant says, quote, neither the principal, the secretary, nor teachers at Michael Anderson Elementary reported the allegations to CPS or law enforcement. Under the RCW, all the involved are mandatory reporters of suspected child abuse. KREM 2 reached out to the school located on Fairchild Air Force Base and run by the Medical Lake School District. We later received a voicemail from Superintendent Tim Ames.
It was brought to my attention that you had called Michael Anderson Elementary looking into accusations that we failed to investigate or report a sexual abuse situation. This situation has been thoroughly investigated by the Office of Special Investigations, and that accusation was found inaccurate and untrue.
We checked with OSI to verify what the superintendent told us. They sent us this statement saying, quote, OSI is actively engaged in reviewing the details and findings in the original investigation as it relates to the current investigation efforts now. We are working closely with the Spokane County Sheriff's Office. Therefore, no new OSI investigative details can be released at this time, nor can we confirm statements and information given to you by others. The Washington State Department of Children, Youth, and Families says mandatory reporters, like educators, are required to report suspected abuse within 48 hours.
Our employees are well trained, understand completely that they have the responsibility to report any sexual abuse accusations.
And we will continue to follow this case, which is being investigated by both the Air Force and the Sheriff's Office. Mark?
Kyle, thank you very much. Now I want to take a quick break from the headlines and chat about our forecast. Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Lagoon joining us now. Jeremy, we saw some snow yesterday. It was clearer today. When can we expect things to warm up, though, and maybe that snow to melt?
I think probably get a good jump on it tomorrow. By Friday, it's basically all going to be gone. By Saturday, we're melting snow that's still on the ground from earlier this winter. Right now, temperatures on the cold side. When I left here after the 6 o'clock news to run home for a quick bite to eat, roads were pretty good. When I made my way back not too much after that, I could start to see a little glisten. Still had some grip, but there was a glisten, and that glisten is pretty indicative of what's to come. Likely a little bit of a slick morning as temperatures continue to drop. We're in the mid-20s in Spokane and falling down near 20 overnight. Mid-20s in the Palouse, teens off to the north, and we're clearing out just a bit. Trying my best to get a view of the comet. Not really having any success just yet, but doesn't mean you shouldn't try. We're going to continue to try to see it. We'll have details on doing that coming up, but let's talk our next round of showers. That doesn't arrive until Friday, and likely not after the sun goes down Friday, and it doesn't look like much in the way of moisture. So the next couple of days, you might even be able to see a peak of sun, depending on when you head outside.
All right, sounds good, Jeremy. Thank you very much. And now to our night beat with a quick look at today's top stories. The city of Spokane Valley will shell out $4 million for repairs to its City Hall building just 5 years after it was built.
I think that everyone has been very patient and recognized that it's our responsibility to make sure that all items get repaired and that we're in a building that is operating to its fullest extent.
Last week, the City Council unanimously approved funding for 2 contracts for building repairs. One is to investigate and uncover what repairs are needed, and the other is for construction management and project oversight. Repairs on the building are expected to begin sometime this spring. In 2020, the City of Spokane Valley filed a lawsuit against the original construction company, Meridian Construction, for structural damages. The first trial for that lawsuit is set for August 7th of this year. Today, we learned that Washington Governor Jay Inslee tested positive for COVID again. A press release from Inslee's office states the governor has mild symptoms, including a cough. He will continue working and will take meetings virtually. Inslee urges people to get vaccinated. This is the second time he has tested positive. He received his second round of booster shots in March of last year. And we have learned today that Eastern Washington University is lifting its COVID vaccine policies. The university will no longer require proof of COVID vaccination for students or employees effective June 1st. The school president says the decision comes after Governor Inslee ended the statewide COVID emergency orders in November. And that was your Night Beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just text us the word night to 509-448-2000 and we'll send them right to your phone.
Tyree was a beautiful person, and for this to happen to him is just unimaginable.
Meanwhile, nationally, a Memphis church was filled with both anger and grief as mourners gathered to remember Tyree Nichols. The young man died after a brutal beating by Memphis police. Vice President Kamala Harris was among the guests braving an ice storm to honor Nichols' life. Nichols' family wanted his funeral to be a celebration of the young man they loved, but in the background are the latest troubling revelations about the police officers charged in his death. Of the 5 former officers charged with Nichols' murder, 4 of them had previous job reprimands or suspensions.
You don't fight gangs by becoming 5 armed men against an unarmed man. That ain't the police, that's punks.
Federal action on police reform has been stalled in Congress, but activists hope Nichols' legacy will inspire lawmakers to move forward. 150 people in Washington are being investigated for what the Department of Justice is calling a fraudulent multi-million-dollar nursing diploma scheme. 3 Florida-based schools are accused of sending out thousands of fake nursing diplomas, allowing people without the proper education and training to apply for and in some cases receive nursing licenses. 7 people in Washington have had their licenses rescinded through the federal investigation.
We did our best, all the state boards, to review those licenses, to make sure those applications met the requirements. And then we also had some of the emergency waivers that were allowed so nurses could come into our state to take care of our most vulnerable people.
Right now, there was no timeline for when the investigation will be complete. The people charged in the fake diploma scheme could face up to 20 years in prison. In other news from around the Northwest tonight, more than 100 dogs were rescued from a fire at a doggy daycare in Seattle this morning. That fire was caused by a dryer at the daycare facility. No humans or dogs were seriously hurt, but at least 2 dogs were taken to a local veterinarian to receive treatment for smoke inhalation. Efforts still underway at this hour to reunite those pets with their owners. Well, it is a question you have likely asked if you have lived here for a while. Do winter tires really make a difference when driving in winter conditions versus all-season or all-terrain tires? I set out to settle this debate. Local tire shops say there's no question that winter tires make a difference. But we also looked at comparisons between winter tires and all-season or all-terrain tires, including a study conducted by WashDOT that tested winter tires and all-season tires on a variety of conditions, including packed snow and ice. You can watch my Verify report coming up tomorrow on KREM 2 News at 6. And to watch all our Verify content on demand, you can find more stories right now on our KREM 2 Plus app. It is available to download right now on Roku or Amazon Fire. And that was your KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time. But don't go to bed just yet. After the break, the homeless camp near I-90, known as Camp Hope, continues to shrink. City leaders today sharing the progress being made, what they said when we come back.